Hello, faithful viewer. I'm Phil Collinson, and I'm the series producer of Doctor Who.
And I'm Michelle Collins, and I play Captain Kath MacDonald.
Joined with Anthony Flanagan, who played Orin Scannell.
Hooray. Welcome.
Hurrah.
So here we are, episode 7, in the TARDIS, as they're about to meet you guys. Did you both used to watch Doctor Who when you were young, when you were kids?
Yeah, I did. I think I sort of vaguely remember hiding behind the sofa and that sort of thing. And I remember Patrick Troughton, actually, which
you're
was a
showing
long
your
show my
age
age.
now. Oh, my God.
But I think my favourite Doctor was Tom Baker.
Yeah.
John Pertwee,
I'm
Tom
a big
Baker.
fan. I saw it even when it was, years and years and years, really early on. I was a bit of a fan, still am.
Really?
So, yeah. I was well over the moon when
So you were chuffed
I
to
got
find out that you were
work
in it?
Yeah.
How about you?
I have to say I was chuffed. No, it was.
Well, you
well,
do
actually,
have
Doctor
to
Who's
say
very
that.
different these days from what it was then. I think
Yeah.
it's a very different sort of beast, isn't it? And I think it's really, it's a great honour to be in Doctor Who.
Kind of always was. It always got really great.
I always
actors
wanted
in.
to be an assistant, really.
Did you? For the benefit of the tape, Michelle Collins is now glaring at me. So here we get our first bit of CGI. Those doors weren't really there.
Ooh.
They were put in afterwards. The bulkheads
that's
were
right.
there,
So I
but they were
hadn't
put
seen
in
this.
afterwards. So you all look really, really hot and sweaty, were you?
No.
Well, for the first 3 or 4 days, we're in this big old works in Cardiff, just above Cardiff, and it was
An old paper
freezing
mill
cold.
factory, wasn't it?
Freezing cold. Paper mill,
An
yeah.
old paper mill, yeah,
And it
which is
took-
where we've just been.
It took you 4 days to get the big heaters in, but
It
did.
was
Hey, this looks-
horrendous.
this looks great. I've not seen this at all.
And then when
yet.
you're freezing cold and having to have baby oil put all over you,
It's a hard existence.
Oh, what a nightmare.
and
That was
dirt
fantastic.
put all
Yeah.
over my face.
So this is the sun that you are now.
That's good.
You are now spinning into as we go into the credits. When we fine cut this episode, we actually didn't go into the credits at that point. We went in a little bit later.
So why did you change it?
So we went back inside the ship and did the bit that you're about to see, where the Doctor goes to open up the door and he's blasted backwards. And the cliffhanger we went out on was Martha saying, "We're stuck here," and then. And I guess we all watched it, the dub, which is the final thing we do, where we put all the sound on. The final thing we do in post-production, and we kind of all sort of went, do you know what? It's not as dramatic as going out on that great big shot of the spaceship and the sun, and it's actually good enough as a cliffhanger. And so we altered it at the last minute, which is a nightmare for our post-production people, and a nightmare for Marigold, who scored it, because he had to rescore it. I think it's better to have done that, really, now. Love running around for you in this episode.
I kept falling over a lot, actually.
Yeah, because you can't really tell. It genuinely is a disused printworks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's terribly dangerous.
And it looked so effective. It looked fantastic. It looked so real.
Yeah.
And it was very slippery because of lots of oil everywhere, obviously, where things
Yeah,
were leaking
yeah,
from the
yeah.
engine room. And David laughed at me a lot because I did fall over quite a bit.
When we wrecked this place, you see that beam going
That's
across
what I
there?
thought
I
over,
nearly
yeah.
knocked myself out.
Oh,
on
you-
that. I went smack into that beam and fell.
I think a few
right
people
on my
banged into
backside.
that.
In front of the whole crew, I felt so.
But it does look fantastic because it was absolutely freezing cold.
We had to be very careful with the takes we used, because there were various takes where if any of you guys breathed out at a certain point, you could see.
Yeah.
You could
really?
see the breath, so we've had to take a lot of that out. We've had to be very careful, because it was freezing, as you say. All the steam, we had to send a special effects crew in and pipe steam through everywhere, so you really got that sense of how hot it was. So quite rare for you guys not to kind of have any hair and makeup malarkey going on. I mean...
Well, I've got hair.
Well, all right. You know what I mean. I mean, you've not got,
No,
These aren't the most glamorous. It's not the most glamorous of episodes.
listen, I'm
for
still in
anyone.
shock. That's why I'm not saying very much. I'll never work again after this.
These guys are looking quite ashen at themselves on screen at the moment, I think. I think it's fun because it's so real. It feels so real, and it does feel like, you're working in this industrial environment that you really, it's not a Star Trek spaceship. It's not clean and crisp, and it really feels like it would.
Hot and steamy.
Hot and steamy, like a tanker in space. I mean, they're kind of like miners. These people, in a way, aren't they?
Floating miners.
Well, we also had to keep on upping the pressure all the time and remember that we were, going to be hitting the sun and God knows what. So that was
you mean in terms of the way you were playing
the energy, the way we're playing it's trying to keep up the energy all the time, and that level of panic as well.
I think Graham helped, the director.
Yeah,
Graham Harper.
He helped really a great deal with keeping the energy up as well.
Yeah, he's so brilliant, Graham, isn't he? He's so energetic and
yeah.
And enthusiastic, actually. I love his enthusiasm for, like, everything.
Yeah.
And it really comes over in everything he directs, actually, how much he loves it and how much he enjoys it. He really instills that.
He's very passionate about it, isn't he?
He is.
But he's almost childlike, isn't he? He's jumping around and he's got all this. So much energy.
Makes me hoot with laughter.
Oh, there's my gorgeous husband.
Hooray.
Matthew, played by Matthew Chambers.
Matthew Chambers. Yeah.
Hal Corwin. But that's pretty much the last we see of his face. Now he's got a...
I know, it was a shame for Matthew because he kept trying to get that helmet off, didn't he? He was really, wanted his face to be seen.
Where is it? About an hour later, take it off and just loads of steam. And blue.
Oh, imagine.
He had the most gorgeous eyes ever, and they put this blooming great big thing on his face.
Yeah, this big mask on his face. And then when he does finally open them, they're full of sun. It's hilarious. It's the irony of the show, really. So this was a studio set, wasn't it? No.
Yes, this was done a couple of weeks
This was probably
later.
one of the last things you did, I
Yes,
think,
it was.
on the last day or 2 days, because we needed this the stasis chamber here to be operational, so it would go in and out and stuff. We couldn't build this in the print works or the paper factory, paper mill, wasn't it, where we were? So we had to build it in the studio and match, obviously, architecturally and sort of in design terms. It had to feel like it was part of the same place. Which was a bit of a challenge, I think. Beautiful set, though.
Yeah, the colours are amazing, actually. Oh.
You guys work really hard on doing all that. I mean, respect to them.
Yeah, we have a great art department. They take all that really, they really go to town and they really take their time over stuff like that. And I think the design on Doctor Who is one of its biggest successes, actually, because it could be a disaster. What does a spaceship look like? Who's it? I think,
and especially with the reputation that Doctor Who had before it became amazing that it is, was its paper sets.
Did it wobble? Did it wobble?
There were no wobbling doors.
I was behind them trying to do that just to take them.
I think my arms are wobbling a bit, but there was no.
You were shaking the scenery, just to make sure how. I spent the whole of the first series doing that. I'd go into every set and I'd give it the wobble test, and occasionally they'd wobble, and occasionally you had 6 stagehands round the back there bracing them. When you've got to slam doors.
Actually, they did keep coming off those buttons there. Do you remember?
I do, actually. Yeah.
But apart from that, everything was really solid.
He's having a sleep between scenes.
Yeah, he is having a little kip. This is the second. We sort of did a bit of a false jeopardy there. Earlier we saw the shot of him waking up. Actually, earlier than it was scripted, because we watched the fine cut and we kind of went, you know what? We need to know that he's going to wake up and there's going to be something happening a little bit earlier than we do. It just looks amazing, that, doesn't it? The size of it and just a brilliant way all the elements come together, the design and the lighting and the special effects. I suppose that in a way that must make it easier to play, I suppose. Suspension of your disbelief or whatever. Because you've got so much around you that's interactive.
Well, also, I'd never done anything like this before, and I said to David about how do you play it? How do you not go over the top? Where's that fine line? And he just said, just conviction, just totally believe in what you're doing, like you're playing any other role, and that's how you do it, and that's how you get you get away with it.
Yeah.
Also, the scripts help, very good scripts, but I've never done anything like this before, so
Yeah,
It was very different.
Well, I think. Well, obviously, this is almost in real time. There is a bit of a fudge with the time because there's a sort of a time lapse between them realising they're correct. The first kind of 5 minutes of the episode, the timer hasn't started, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So it doesn't start until 5 minutes in because they've got to land, they've got to get out, they've got to meet you two and have all that chat, and then the timer starts. So actually, I think it's about 37 minutes. But of course, we wanted to do 42 because of the 24, the reverse of the numbers, blah 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 blah, for all of that. So there is a bit of a fudge in the timeline at some point. But this is the first time we've sort of really attempted a real time episode. We've never done that before, and it's a very different discipline, you know. And you imagine everything's going on at the same time.
What do you think fans will think of it then?
Well, they'll love it. I mean, I think it's just. I think it's a really kind of. It has all the classic ingredients of any other Doctor Who episode. I think it's got that, you know, it's got the alien possession thing on the loose, the creature on the loose.
And going back to reality like this.
Well, that's mental, isn't it? The idea she's on a spaceship. You know,
and then she's phoning her mum.
She's phoning her mother to get the answer to a question. I think it's brilliant.
That was very funny in the read-through, actually. I really liked that.
Yeah. They work really well together. Freema and William. And of course, got Lot together in this episode. Coming up. Yeah, even poor old Freema's sweaty there, look. It's hitting her too. But she did manage to get a bit of eye makeup on, I can see.
I suppose she's the lead. I mean, you know, it's not blooming fair.
Will's got loads on, but he's in the wrong place.
Yeah, Will's.
Yeah, in fact, Will's got more makeup on than me.
Oh wow! I just think it does look brilliant. Though. It looks so real. And now he's coming alive. So we're about to get our first glimpse at what the monster of the week is going to be. It's very nice and cheap for us this week because it's a sort of a plastic helmet, really.
So
no hours of prosthetic.
I was in a cheap episode.
No, I mean the monster was cheap. Of course it wasn't cheap. Look at this. How would you imagine it? All this design cost us an absolute
How much
fortune.
are you allowed to say how much
No,
an episode costs?
I'm never going to say how much an episode costs. Of course I'm not. A lot of money.
A little bit?
No.
Oh, I'm so bad at running.
You've been training for 8 weeks for that, right?
You were. I remember you saying you turned up and you'd been at the gym and everything. Especially since you knew you were going to be running around in just a vest.
Oh, I'm such a girly.
Here we go. And of course, really, we should have been seeing her frazzle there, but we don't. I love the kind of the stuff with Martha and her mum went into the script a little bit later when we'd really established what we were doing with the sort of through storyline that you start to see in this episode with them and the mysterious woman who's in the background and stuff. But we always wanted to just have a little look at that mother-daughter relationship thing and the idea of how frustrated women can get with their mothers. And it kind of went a bit further in one of the earlier drafts, but we pulled it back. But I think it's great to see Francine again there. That just makes me laugh every time. It's such a brilliant outline.
School project.
It is. They were painting it. Do you remember on one side of the soundstage? It's very, very funny. And look at you both. You both play that with so much conviction.
I thought maybe the last scene I shot anyway. I think this.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. It's certainly well after we'd finished in the paper mill.
Yeah.
It just looks so hot. I suppose it was hotter now we were in the studio.
Slightly.
That's why it looked so convincing. We weren't acting. We were just like sweating.
You were absolutely boiling at this point. He's great, David, isn't he? I mean, he's like you touched on, Michelle, about how well he pitches his performance. But I think, as you know, obviously, as you've both played leads in other shows, and I think it's so important as a leading actor to set the tone.
He does that
and
very
to be
much,
the person who really
He always knows exactly what he's doing. He's always very friendly and up to everybody, but just very, very focused. And
he's always well prepared, isn't he? Yeah, it makes such a difference.
And he can speak fast as well.
Yeah!
We like that.
Get out of it
he
quickly,
can.
yeah.
He can speak really fast and you can make out every word he's saying.
Yeah.
My God.
That's very good.
It's always a brilliant prerequisite in a Doctor Who, I think, that the ability to say technical dialogue really quickly. Particularly when it makes absolutely no scientific sense.
Or you're just worried they're going to get bored, so just say it very quickly.
Just say it really quickly, yeah. And look like you're intelligent. Whoa, it always makes me jump. Huge sting of music there. Poor old Matthew in his helmet. Scary orange helmet. Oh, another one frying tonight. So all those little inserts of the clock, we just set a clock up on the side of the stage and just filmed the whole thing counting down for 42 minutes,
right.
so we could cut it into wherever we wanted to. With your little sad moment, you know. Your sad lament for your husband, your poor possessed
I'm not
husband.
shouting in this one. I can't bear watching. Sorry,
Why?
it's painful.
It's brilliant. It's not. It's brilliant. It's really brilliant.
Oh, they're back.
Yeah.
See, we didn't see
still
much of
running.
them, really, 'cause they're off doing
they
their
were
own
in. They're
thing.
in their sort of separate storyline, weren't they? Oh, this
There's quite a
bit.
lot of sexual frisson going on there.
There is a
isn't
lot of that. Yeah, with these two. Well, it's what happens, I suppose, when you get trapped in an escape pod with somebody.
Yes, happened to me a lot, actually. Always
I
happens
have
to me that.
a recurring thing. As a child, it's like, say you're on a bus or whatever, and you'd be going, right, if this is the last journey I ever take, what would I do with these people? Like,
Oh,
whatever.
fantastic.
Here's another one going.
Another one's going now. Yeah. See, here you can see the steam coming out of his
No,
mouth.
he doesn't, because I kill him. Don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Now that
Oh,
is...
now he's frying. That's terrible, isn't it?
I think it looks really good. No, you think it's terrible?
No. I mean, I
Oh.
think it's terribly shocking.
What a way to go.
He'd been
What a way
holding
to
his
go.
breath for about an hour to get all that
Yeah.
stuff. You've been cruel to
He
him.
was turning blue. Yeah, it is funny if you were trapped in that place and you knew you were dying. I mean, yeah. See, we should have had, in hindsight, we should have had name badges for everybody because they all start to look the same now. This light fudge from them all. That, you know, everybody knows who everybody is, even though they've got exactly the same costume on and the same helmet. But there you go. So again, we were in a
I think
studio set here.
The costume designer is fantastic.
Louise.
Because everything just looks like we've been in it for weeks and weeks or months, doesn't it? Which,
Yeah. She is brilliant. She's very careful about all of that. And it's also brilliantly broken down as well,
yes,
isn't it?
yeah.
that It's all
She'd
kind
broken most of it down
dirty
before
and
when we...
creased and the boots and
Yes,
everything.
when we'd got it looked like it had been on someone else for weeks and weeks and months. Mine smelt a bit, actually, as well.
I'm really getting
Not
a
really.
sense of the glamour of this job.
Oh,
from you.
glamorous, gosh.
Yeah, the glamour.
But Pam, the makeup designer, said she was very proud of me that I didn't wear mascara by the end.
Yeah, you've worked with her before, haven't you? So there were that was a skate pod and the bit of corridor
Right.
was a studio set as well, but in a different bit of the studio. There's another
Oh, there's
one,
another one.
another fried one. Great shot, that. Real trailer shot, that one.
That was a bit of a nightmare, that scene, if I remember.
It was quite a while to do, wasn't it? It was a long scene, actually. A lot going on.
I think we kept changing it, didn't we?
Yeah, some of the movements were changing around.
But Graham's good like that anyway. He lets you, sort of find your way through the scene, doesn't he? Rather than just saying, right, do this, do that.
Yeah.
He's very much an actor's director, isn't he?
which for a producer sometimes can be frustrating because when you sit there and you know that you're up against it, and he's rehearsing with somebody for half an hour, you are sat there thinking, for goodness sake, get on with it. But actually, you're right. It means that he always gets wonderful performances from people because he allows the time.
But it's very rare in the script that you can say this doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. There's the odd moment, isn't there, that you kind of think, oh. Oh, he's your husband. Somehow you know. Telepathic link.
Fantastic looking stuff.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about going somewhere like this, because we've always tended, if we've had big spaceships or big, we've always tried to go to industrial environments, because if you see that, you've got all that depth stretching away behind both of you at each side, and it just gives it a bigger size and a bigger feel and a bigger scale. It's like, makes it feel slightly more epic. Because it costs you a fortune to build something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you use bits of old sets for new sets?
Oh, God,
and you do all the time?
You walk around all the time and you see bits. All these bulkheads have been used before somewhere else, and they get sliced down to fit into different spaces or built up. Yeah. Yeah, and of course after 3 series now, we've got an awful lot of scenery and bits of gizmos and gadgets, and they can all be adapted for different things. They kind of have to be. Now they've had it.
No return.
Absolutely no chance whatsoever. You do get to a point in this episode and you just think, they've all had it now. Oh, Anthony, there you go, look.
Look at that little wheel we found.
That was the wheel on a bus in another episode.
At one stage.
With your finger. Well, you do a great job at making it look difficult. Ooh, again, it looks so brilliant. The colours. So that was Gary Powell, Ashton.
Ashton. I can tell.
There's your frosty husband. It's got a bit sort of makeup. Had to put sort of fake snow on them, didn't he? David gets it later.
Oh yeah.
With kind of a freezing idea that they're frozen.
Oh, that looked fantastic, actually.
So they've cut that scene that we had a little bit. Unless it'll come back. It'll come back. Maybe not. I don't know.
What scene was that?
We had a little bit back.
Oh yeah, when he's on the floor.
Yeah.
And we're talking about. Oh.
Talking about what?
What did he mean when he said?
Yeah.
Burn with me, and we're trying to get the sort of.
Oh, I think that has gone.
Has it?
Yeah.
Was it that good then?
It's kind of established, or I mean,
I like that little moment
tiny
we had
little
together.
tiny little trims you do in all of these episodes to just keep the pace going, I suppose. So this moment here is the only bit of silence there's ever been in New Doctor Who, ever. The music goes, the effects goes, everything goes for just a moment.
So the bit where she's sitting over the dead body, that's gone, has it?
No, you see that in a minute.
I mean, how epic is that? That's
brilliant, isn't it?
That's phenomenal.
That's her space escape pod.
The silence does it absolute justice.
Yeah, it does. 17 minutes to go. There you go.
Oh no, this is back. I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go. You see, actors, they're always looking out for their moment. I mean, so you talked about, agonising about where to pitch your performance. How did you arrive at this then? I mean, how easy was it? I mean, to kind of look over at, a guy who's supposed to be your husband covered in frost in a steamy old spaceship.
I think it's really different from anything else. You just put yourself in that mindset, and you. And that's sort of how I played it. I mean, I wasn't sure how I was going to play at all when I started. I think that it was quite nerve-wracking, as I said, to know where to sort of pitch it. But once I'd sort of, after a day or something, I felt that I'd quite sort of got into it.
Yeah.
It's got a nice balance, this episode, of you know, you've got that kind of fast energy and all that, and then every now and then when you
Of
get
the
the breaks,
moments
when
of-
you get the breaks, I think
You
the,
need that,
the
don't
audience
you?
deserve that. It's kind of
Yeah.
take the speed off.
Well, it's funny. I mean, scenes like this
Yeah.
are the way we
It's
get
a
it
nice shot.
made. Actually, you know what I mean? Because to be in that in that print works and to be running around there for 2 weeks would, you know, A, cost us a fortune, and B, you don't get so much shot every day, and so, you know, I think you have to in the planning of the episode, you have to build in things like this where you've got 2 people sitting in an escape pod, and the challenge of that then is, you know, not letting the action dip. You know, is actually giving the audience something from these scenes to take away, and these scenes really tell you an awful lot about Martha.
I think you're right. That's why it does work, because if you just had those action shots the whole time, and it would just get a bit exhausting.
Well, I think sometimes, you know, big blockbusters films can suffer from that. That, you know, they've got all the money in the world, and so they just throw effects at it. And I think occasionally what happens in those films is you do lose the heart, and we're kind of forced to hang on to the heart. Not that we wouldn't have it, but do you know what I mean? You're
So
kind
you
of
need to get
forced
back to
hang on
relationships,
it.
characters.
Well,
That's
exactly. It's really important that, you know, I think as every episode unfolds, we find a bit more out about Martha, and in this episode is very much about what she thinks about her family and how she feels in the middle of that mad, chaotic family. And you know, and actually in a lot of ways what she feels for the Doctor and what he's giving her in terms of a sense of belonging. And you really get a sense, sort of for the first time, really, how deep her feelings are for him. Oh, look at. So this is a bit physical for you now, Michelle. Did we have a stunt
this was quite
person?
horrible, actually.
Yeah. Whoa. I remember reading
To
this
have a
thinking,
stunt
how are
woman
we...
to help me punch in, because I'd never punched anyone before, you know.
Really?
No,
I don't
not like
believe
that.
it.
Right in the stomach.
But of course, it's
quite horrible.
again, it's an important beat, because I think you've really got to believe this woman can handle herself, and she can captain this vessel that's so, you know, and she can do this really physical work, and there's a real strength to all of them. Actually, you really feel like all of them feel like they can handle themselves.
Well, they probably are a bit smelly. I think it's very hot and very smelly, and
Oh, I
you know
bet.
they've been on this. Well, they've been on this in this ship for weeks, haven't they? Months even.
Yeah.
So it's a bit where my character actually reveals that he really wants to help the Doctor and is a good lad.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I think it's like you're not quite sure about your character, whether he's a bit dodgy actually
At
at this
first,
point.
yeah.
You think,
Because you
Is
are
there
waiting to
something-
find out. You do
Yeah.
know one of them's got a secret,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah.
I think you all play that really well. That kind of like sense that, you know, it's a bit shifty and there's more to them than meets the eye. It's always really difficult when you because obviously we shoot all these scenes live action for real, and before any of the CGI is done, and when we online these episodes, which is the point where all the CGI gets dropped in, and then we grade them the day after when we look at the colour balance and everything. And there's always a real challenge to kind of get the live action stuff to match the CGI. And I think, you know, these are sort
so
of...
that probably
semi-
takes a lot longer than the actual filming, doesn't it? The
Well,
CGI
it does,
after.
actually. That takes months and months and
Yeah.
months to do, because people sit... We've got a team of about 30, 40 people in the mill slaving away for months. It's a really long, arduous process, and a lot of it's it's virtually hand-done, really, a lot of it. So this is the start of our sort
That's
of...
a nice shot.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, isn't it? The tears. This is
I
the-
just like him, his face in the background.
Graham uses lots of long lenses, and you see how they correspond,
Yes.
the two shots.
Yeah.
there.
Mirrored shot.
There's a character in the back thrown out of focus all the time. But that's that happens because of the length of the lens that you use. If you use lenses with well, they're called long lenses, basically. They make sure that the person in the front is really sharply in focus, and then the person at the back is...
Because Graham's done a lot of Doctor Who's, hasn't he? So does
Well,
he know
Graham
exactly
did-
what you want?
Well, he's done a lot of new Doctor Who's, yeah, and I think, you know, has been here since... Did a huge block of episodes for us in Series 2, so he's kind of one of the family, really, now, and it's brilliant to do that. We've tried to use a lot of the same directors over and over again, because you do develop that shorthand with people, and you know... at first there's a great, because I think it's very easy, and the best director in the world could not quite pitch this properly, or could not quite understand how the special effects work, or exactly the sensibility of the show or what we want. And I think Graham absolutely gets it. And just manages again. This was a studio set. And David, the combination of David's performance and the intensity of it, and just the way Graham manages to get loads of different shots and close-ups and wide shots, and shoots it in such a way that you can really pace it up and make it so dynamic. Because we only have one special effects shot really in this sequence, one or two, but yet you do kind of there is a sense that you believe he's hanging on to the side of that jet.
When really he's lying on the floor.
When really he's lying on the floor, exactly. Well, this was a much bigger sequence in the script originally, and he was going to have to do a sort of spacewalk along the top of the spaceship from one end to the other, and we just couldn't achieve it in terms of the number of special effects shots. It would have needed to sell it. So we asked Chris to have a look and have a think about how he might scale it down, and that's what he did. Because at the end of the day, it was all about, well, he's going to save her life.
Fantastic.
Yeah, which he does. And of course now we see him we start to get the big reveal really about what's happened and what dodgy Kath's done. It's all your fault.
It's just very different from the other episodes, isn't it?
I suppose in terms of its in terms of its content, in terms of the way it looks.
Everything. It just seems very. I suppose also there are no. There aren't really any prosthetics. There aren't any, aliens anywhere. There aren't any people with funny ears or tails or God knows what.
So the Doctor's he's taken it so far now, putting his life on the line every time for this, for us all, I guess, humans.
And I love this. I think, I imagine if you're 8 years old here, you would just imagine, they've got no chance now. I mean, because he's scared, he's possessed now. We've never done that before. We've never done that before. Because and this is a great episode from now on, really, for Freeman, because she gets to take charge.
Control.
Yeah. And gets to prove herself. So now we've just found out that you've done it.
Well, my character's now losing it. She's starting to...
Well, she's kind of... Do you think she's known all along that it's her fault?
No.
Really? Well, you are a bit shifty early on when he's saying to you...
Sure.
She knows she's been doing something illegal.
She's been doing something, yes.
Yeah. But I
don't think she's sinister.
No.
No. That's her job, and.
But you sort of you do kind of play her as haunted throughout. I mean, you do get the sense that.
But there's something underlying. She's quite complex. There's
something underlying.
Not quite right.
Yeah.
And she's also this woman in a man's world. She's running this ship and is very. Fiercely protective of her crew, I think, as well, isn't she?
So actually, she's and what we're about to see her do is kind of amazing.
Well, she becomes a bit of a hero, doesn't she? Really, because
she does redeem herself. David's really going for it now. He's upping the possession. Oh my God. You're shouting again.
Oh, I know. God.
No, it is though. It's brilliant. It's getting up that energy now, really, because it's really ratcheting up. They've got about 6 minutes now. But this is where David says he's scared, and I think for the Doctor to say he's scared, they're really in trouble now. This spacesuit he's got on, we used in some episodes.
Well, that's second hand as well, is it?
Yeah. We used that before the spacesuit. We just painted it a different colour. Well, Louise did. It was yellow, I think, when we had it before. But this episode is set in sort of at the same time, but in a different bit of the universe, as 2 episodes we did in series 2, called the Satan Pit. And
Right.
Lots of the design is the same as the space station in the Satan Pit. And if you're a clever
They'd know.
viewer, if you watch very carefully, they talk about certain bits of star systems and things. You do get the sense that these episodes are kind of almost happening at the same time.
I must admit, when I first read it, it was a bit gobbledygoo to me, I must say.
Was it?
Yeah. Especially a stasis chamber.
All of that, yeah.
What the hell's that?
You all do a great job at convincing us that it's everyday speak.
Pretending we know exactly what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah. It's the real challenge of it. It's amazing how scary an orange helmet can be. When you
I'd
know
love to do
what's
something
behind
like
it.
this again, though. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I suppose it's different, isn't it? There he is, iced up again. I think that was quite a bit of a job for them, really, putting that on and taking it off. Oh, you're all going, you're off
This is
running
my
again.
husband now, I think.
4 minutes to go. Got to do something drastic. So you guys are running for it. Everybody's running now. Oh, my goodness.
Door 3, is it, or door 2? We're near enough.
Yeah, you're getting there. It's very
Weren't
funny.
the numbers
this.
of the doors wrong at one point?
I think they might have been, actually. I'm sure if you look very carefully, they probably were. You can't remember everything, Michelle. There's a lot to think about. But we did have a big... the art department had a big floor plan of this spaceship that they had drawn up, so that they could... so that they could get the doors right. And as you go through the right door, or you're in the right bit, and that bit leads down to there. So that's you face to face with your husband then now for the last time. Well, not quite face to face. Face to mask. So you've gone there now to
try and...
turn the power back on. Do you think she knows what she's about to do?
I think she does now, yes. What do you think?
Because you had a bit... No,
Yeah, I don't-
it's funny because I
know, I had
remember
a few
when
problems
you
with
shot
it.
this. Well, you just... There was I suppose it is debatable, isn't it? Whether she quite knows exactly what she's about to do.
Well, also, there were quite a few rewrites, and I had to keep talking to the script editor to make sure that I was on... You know, you have to understand what you're doing, because how can you expect anyone else to understand if you don't? With your character.
Yeah.
This was very difficult, because we shot this on the very first day,
Of course, yeah.
which was very hard, actually.
To pitch, you mean?
Yeah, well, I think if I'd have done it again, I probably would have played it slightly different.
In what way?
Well, just knowing, you know...
Just knowing what you know. So she's...
Just knowing her history and their history, and I just felt I could have played it better.
Oh. And the choir sings.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Off you go into oblivion. Have you ever had a death like that? Have you ever died on television?
You could have died better. I mean,
I told you I would have died better if I'd done it later on.
So tell us how did we achieve that, Michelle?
Oh my God. Well, I was what do you call it? I was harnessed up with a, you know, and I was actually pulled out by 2 big burly men.
Pulled off your feet.
Pulled off my feet, and then we were sort of harnessed up in the air.
Suspended on a wire.
Suspended on
You
a
and
wire.
Matthew together.
Yeah.
Against the green screen, right?
It was very I only met him that morning as well. suddenly we were on top of each other.
Suddenly you're in a wire. You're on a wire together. It's a way to get to know
We had
somebody.
some nice
I'm
little
sure.
chats while we were hanging up in the air. Got to know each other very well.
Like bats.
But I found that a little bit scary, actually.
How high off the
Being
ground
yanked.
were you?
It wasn't so much that. It was just the anticipation of knowing that you're going to be yanked back
Yeah.
any second,
Yeah.
and not knowing.
And not know
that
quite
was,
when.
No.
David's in full possession mode now. It's all going wrong now. And the music's playing, and oh my goodness me. So you're through the last door. This was a different paper mill now, wasn't it, Anthony?
yes,
I seem to remember a
Yeah, that was
different
right. It
place.
was a different one.
I think just to...
This was a Glassworks, I think.
A Glassworks.
Yeah. And these amazing...
Been in them all.
Amazing, massive, disused buildings up in Wales there.
Yeah, there's a lot of those in industrial complexes. So this is Freema's finest moment here.
That's Margaret Thatcher's fault, anyway. But
yes, the closing down of the works. You mean? Yeah. It's true, actually, but I suppose it's our gain in a lot of ways. Brilliant CGI shot here, and the mill gave us a bonus shot.
Ooh,
that's classic.
Yeah, so. Out the possession's ending there now, and it's leaving him.
Ooh.
Oh, the doctor's back. Did you have to plan what buttons you were going to flick and switch?
Yeah. It was quite methodical.
It does look like you know what you're doing.
Because most people don't, you mean?
Yeah.
Even in extreme moments of tension like that. We're prepared for this moment.
And off goes, and there you go, like, just in time.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Fantastic.
You've saved yourselves. How marvellous. And there is all that, really. You were doing all that Star Trek acting here, of course, aren't you? Because actually the camera's doing a lot of the movement.
Yeah.
And it's just made so brilliantly believable by you lot throwing yourselves around there. Pretending that you're upside down. And being buffeted. Hooray!
Yeah.
They're reunited again. It's very funny, I think this is kind of one of the first moments in the series where you really start to feel the bond between the Doctor and Martha, when he really does start to trust her and she does start to trust him, and they really come together at that moment, I think. So we've sort of graded this a bit cooler now. It feels a bit less orange and a bit colder.
You don't seem that bothered that I've gone.
I thought we were all going in TARDIS.
Everyone looks really happy. It's all ended all happy. What about me? There's 4 people dead on this ship and you don't give a...
Well, they've saved ourselves, come on.
We asked to write in a scene, but it
Yeah, I suppose they should have been on the bridge, sort of saluting you or something, shouldn't they? As you sailed off into the distance. But you're probably a crisp now. You end your life as a crisp from outer space.
Ooh.
Saucy.
Big old saucy. Look at you in the background there. I love that, how you're just looking up at the... totally embarrassed by the whole scenario. Not happy. There you go. So now they're in the TARDIS now, and he gives her the key for the first time.
Oh, it's not very happy there.
No. Well, he's just been possessed. How would you feel? Possessed by the spirit of the sun. Dear goodness. But of course it all ends up happening. Because he's given her the key. That moment in a relationship where the man gives you the key to his flat, Michelle.
No, it's never happened to me. I wouldn't know.
She's happy about it. So this sort of bit that we end on here, the phone call that she's about to make back home, and again the sense that there's a sinister presence in that sort of tracking them down. And it's all building towards the end of our series. So viewers, you've got to just keep watching to see what it all means and who those sinister people in Martha's mother's house are, and what it all means.
And is that in every episode?
Yeah, there are. If you watch very carefully now, from now on, it really starts to ratchet up, and you really start to get a sense of somebody watching them. Elise de Trois, she used to be in Hollyoaks. I think she was one of the members of the very original cast. Yeah, she comes back in as well at the end of the series. Find out. Lovely Adjua there who plays Francine. Hooray. Did you enjoy that, chat?
I did.
Hooray. We get a glimpse of next time. But how did that feel, seeing that for the first time? Michelle Collins, for the benefit of the transcript, is white and completely in shock.
I am still in shock.
Anthony's laughing.
I love it.
I'm pleased to see.
It's great. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Very exciting.
It's like really fast moving, I think, too, that one. It's so fast. I mean, the fastest
It's like a movie.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny when you sit back and see them in this kind of environment as well, so long, like months. When did we film that? We filmed that in...
End of Jan.
End of January, and we're now in May. So we kind of did that 4 months ago, and it's only when you sit back now and look at them that I always marvel at how everybody pulls together and pulls that off, because it does feel huge, doesn't it, when you look at it like that? And you don't really get that sense when you're on the set, I don't think, sometimes. You know,
you never know what it's going to... I mean, people know Doctor Who, but the amount of support and the amount of different jobs that people do, it just really comes off as one whole thing. It's great.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, thank you both for coming, and you now enter the sacred world of
Pleasure.
Doctor Who.
And reality. Oh,
Hooray!
Not really. Thank you.